Welcome to Petra Soderling Co's Quick 5 on Artificial Intelligence. I'm here with the boss herself, and she's going to try and tell us a little bit more about AI in the modern day. So welcome, Petra.
Thanks, Chris. Great to be here.
So firstly, I want to start off in a really positive way. So AI is primarily being used as a quick way to compile and analyze huge amounts of data. Medical services, ChatGPT, art, music, picture creation. Is that how you see AI being used at the moment?
For me, I would separate the time before ChatGPT, before OpenAI, and then the time after, because there have been companies for decades creating artificial intelligence, machine learning capabilities, and we've had use cases and products that have used artificial intelligence, but we just didn't know that it was. For example, when you watch Netflix, the recommendation engine uses AI to feed you content that you like. Same on YouTube, same in search engines. But it wasn't really until OpenAI came out with GPT when everyone realized that, oh my gosh, you can do all these things with this thing. This is amazing. And then all these other what are called generative AI tools started rolling out. So now individuals can use AI to produce text, we can ask questions, we can have chat conversations, we can create videos, and so forth. So that's like a second type of category of products. And then I would say there's a third type of category is where existing products that we've used in the past, let's say Adobe Photoshop, for example. In the old days, if you wanted to edit a picture, let's say you have a picture of your house and the lawn in front of your house has some brown patches on it. If you wanted to fill those brown patches with green grass, you really had to know all the commands and you really had to know how to use Photoshop. But today, when you open Photoshop and you upload a picture, the software is going to ask you, do you want to fill this? And you just say yes, and it's going to do all of that for you. And there are other examples of tools like that where you type some text and the software is going to suggest, do you want to say it this way instead? So those are the three categories of products and services that I would separate a little bit from one another.
Yeah. I mean, naturally, I want to ask the question that all the kids in the world want to hear, which is more about physical AI. You know, I want to hear about robots and self-driving cars. You know, how much of that is real?
It's very real, very, very real. Actually, we've had robots also for quite many decades. We've had robots in cars, we've had bots in the internet, we just didn't realize they are robots. But we are increasingly seeing also robots like from the sci-fi movies that look like human beings. For example, Tesla has been developing a robot that very soon we could all just buy and use for doing stuff around the house or in the office. So it's coming quickly.
And of course, we've had vacuum robots.
We've had
vacuum,
yes, absolutely. Vacuum robots. I have one in my house right now.
So I watched listened to your podcast with Mary Hatia from Sido the other day. And you guys were talking about regulations, particularly in Europe. But, how important is that? And, is there a sign that it stifles innovation, or is it just something that has to be there to protect people?
Yeah, that's a great question. Two separate questions. First, is it important? Yes, it's very important because AI. If policymakers don't have any policies on how companies can use AI, there are lots of use cases where you could use AI to do bad things. If you've ever watched Black Mirror, for example, there are episodes in that show where people are being ranked. Given social points with facial recognitions, and then based on those points, you may not receive social security or a pension or healthcare services or things like that. Or there was a Black Mirror episode where Hollywood wanted to digitalize an actress, and then Hollywood actually, in reality, after that, wanted to digitalize some of the actors and actresses. So regulation is very much needed to protect people's rights. To protect our health, to protect our finances. So, for example, in the EU's AI Act, all of the things that I just mentioned before, the very, very bad things are forbidden completely, and then some things are regulated, so used for healthcare, for food, for financial services, and so forth. So it's needed to protect the people, but it's also needed The second part of your question was about innovation. Um, Companies need guidance from policymakers where we are headed in society so that they can safely invest in R&D and create the types of services that are allowed and will be allowed in markets. So having regulation is reassuring companies that this is exactly where they should be spending their money instead of doing something else. And look, innovation is a big word. Having a regulation on innovation doesn't mean that somebody in your own garage is not allowed to do something. We can innovate all we want. It's just when you bring the products to market, to consumers, when the regulation kicks in.
And I guess that's an important point, isn't it? Thinking about how governments and companies kind of work together in that sphere, and I guess in the future that'll be even more important with countries having to help organizations and companies kind of bring stuff to market.
For sure, it's not only just regulation that governments do. They also enable companies and give guidance. So, for example, many countries have national AI strategies, and different countries have different strategies. Two countries that I've worked with personally, Finland and the Republic of Serbia, they have different strategies, and that's fantastic. In Finland, for example, they decided that it's too late for Finland to create their own deep learning neural networks, those very core essential elements of AI, but instead they wanted to focus on how to use AI to bring government closer to citizens and to enable citizens to use government services more easily. And then in the Republic of Serbia, they started a little bit later. So they are focusing now on how to have data, because without data you don't really have AI. How to have data so that it's in digital format, it's in a format that's readable and usable by the AI. And then they do have selected sectors like the automotive industry and the healthcare and health tech industry, for example, where they're testing the first uses of AI. And I also want to mention, for countries and their strategies, they don't often think about foreign direct investment, but foreign direct investment is a very important part of countries' strategies, because it's a way for them to invite new brains, new innovation power from abroad, and create more jobs and more GDP for their countries.
And it's when that kind of leads me into my next question, actually, because I think a lot of people are in awe of AI and what it can do, but I think there's still quite a lot of fear, particularly around losing jobs, as we see more and more services being taken over by AI. What's your thoughts on that?
For sure. We're here in the studio where I recorded the audiobook version of my book, and I read it myself, but we could have had an AI read the book for us. So anything that's digital, you also do music, anything that's digital is going to be replaced for the most part with AI for mundane tasks. We'll always have art, and we'll always have performers. People will pay for that experience. But for many jobs and many industries are actually going to be wiped out altogether. And I think that's one of the areas where we're not preparing ourselves too much. We should have more focus on that.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for coming. Thank you out there for listening to Petra Soderling Co's Quick 5 on AI. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to the channel for more Quick 5s in the future.
Thanks for having me, Chris.